We've watched Victoria's market shift over the past few years, and we're finally seeing the full impacts now. So, not only does Victoria look different these days, but buyers and sellers are behaving differently as well. There's a few observations that I want to share with you that really highlight this new landscape. First off, there are more townhomes right now for sale in Victoria than any other time in history. The missing middle has arrived. Here's the catch though. The median price is over $1 million, and a lot of the homes under that $1 million price point, particularly in Victoria or Saanich, don't have parking. So how are buyers responding to this new product type? Not great, with many developers having to cut prices. The presale market is on life support. Developers are slashing prices on the final remaining unsold stock, and most of the new builds you see breaking ground around Victoria are rental towers. Interest rates are back to 2022 levels, but this is anything but 2022's market. Rental rates are also cooling, which could be the nail in the coffin for small-time property investors who have largely pulled back from buying new investments and are already dealing with difficult tenancy laws, thin margins, and low returns. Buyers are still very active, but there's no sense of urgency and no appetite for anything not priced realistically. For example, if you're trying to sell a shoebox condo downtown or a time capsule home in Dean Park, you're probably looking at or approaching pre-COVID prices unless you have something really special. There's never a dull moment in Victoria's real estate market. Thanks so much for subscribing and following along with me. We had 33 out of 412 properties sell over asking price. This 1990s detached home in Sachs Point is the winner, selling for 8% over the asking price. That's about it though. Most other sales were only a few $1,000s over ask, so it's just not very competitive out there, and there's just not a lot of bidding wars for properties. The drop in sales recently is significant, down 18% from this time last year and 28% month over month. We're still on track for the same number of sales as 2024 in total, but there has been a major shift and cooling off in sales numbers recently. Inventory levels are at a 10-year high. We have 3,000 active listings. What's interesting though is that 1 in 4 homes on the market right now has had to drop their price. If we break it down further, here's where the most price drops have happened. Lots of price drops downtown, the Gulf Islands, and Bear Mountain leading the list, which generally tracks the sale to list ratios. It's interesting to see Cordova Bay on the list there so high, and I think it's because there's just a lot of homes there over the $1.5 million mark, and anything that high is very slow to sell right now as well. Compared to say Gordon Head or Lake Hill, which are also desirable family neighborhoods like Cordova Bay, but much more affordable. We still have micro pockets that are doing well. Swan Lake, Quadra, Thetis Heights, Colwood are continually month over month at the top of the list as desirable neighborhoods. These are all family-friendly neighborhoods, and buyers will always compete and buy things a little bit faster and maybe pay a small premium to get into the right schools and neighborhoods for their kids. Downtown condos are still struggling. Here's a good example. A 1-bedroom condo that sold for $525K in 2022 has since been relisted 5 times in the last year and is still struggling to sell at $440K. 15 to 20% is an extreme end of downtown condo losses. Most aren't that bad, but it really depends on the building. Another segment with a ton of relists and canceled listings is homes over $2 million. Only 18 homes over $2 million sold last month. Lots of time capsule properties in Broadmead and North Saanich. They're just not moving, likely estate sales, and they're taking sometimes even years to sell. There are over 20 townhome or multiplex developments for sale right now in the core, either pre-sale or ready to go. Personally, I'm a bit skeptical of these developments because there's unique factors that we just don't know how they will stand the test of time. Many have no off-street parking, and paying $1 million for a home without parking could be a tough sell in the future as it really limits your buyer pool. Secondly, the definition of a townhome has changed, and what you'll find listed on MLS is no longer just the vertically designed side-by-side row townhomes. Multiplexes are popping up around town, and they offer stacked homes similar to condos. Again, I'm skeptical. There's definitely some pros. You get a larger square footage than a condo and lower strata fees, but there's a lot more shared walls and the potential for some messy small strata politics. Plus, when you look at the square footage and the layouts, oftentimes there's a lot of staircases that really eat up onto that finished square footage. If you live in one of these kind of developments, please let me know what your experience is because I could be wrong on this. On the flip side, if you do want a new home in an area like Oak Bay or Saanich East, that's not a condo, then buying one of these new developments, there's a lot of them on Henderson Road, paying $1.5 million, that's kind of your only option without spending $2 million or $3 million on a brand new custom detached home. So I get why these exist, but at the same time, I wouldn't rush in to buy any of them. It's all going to come down to getting a really good price. My inbox is once again filled with pre-sale emails and incentives that don't seem to be moving the needle much. Pre-sales work in a hot market, but now that buyers have selection, entering into a contract heavily weighted toward the developer for a space that you can't physically walk in and inspect is kind of a hard sell. New construction and buying brand new will always be appealing, but not every developer can bankroll a project to 100% completion before selling it, so pure pre-sale may be a thing of the past. There's a new development coming smack in the middle of Vic West Songhees neighborhood, and if you look at the neighboring buildings, there's a lot of resale units for sale. The draw of the Songhees has been how quiet it is compared to downtown, and a lot of people that live here, particularly retirees, they don't want to hear construction or have their view blocked. I'm going to be watching rental rates very closely over the next few months because I think that's going to dictate how 2026's market will play out. According to rentals.ca, we're down 5.6% year over year, and if it drops another 5 to 10%, that could be the death blow to small investors who are just barely hanging on. If you go on Facebook Marketplace, prices still look really high, so I don't know how accurate the rentals.ca number is. It's also the end of the year, which is traditionally a tough time to find new tenants. One thing's for certain though, there's a massive amount of new rental stock coming online soon, such as University Heights and Saanich, and so many more rental towers in the pipeline. What are you seeing out there? I try to combine my own personal observations in these market reports because I don't think the numbers and stats always tell the whole story. So please let me know your own experiences in the comments. Thanks so much for watching.